There we go. Almost. There we go. All right. Gonna pop out the chat and put it over on this screen. And we're going to stretch it out. And we're going to go to live chat instead of top chat. There we go. All right. I think we have all of our ducks in a row. Okay. There we go. I hope you folks are doing well. Hope you're having a good time of day. Let's see here. Colin Max this afternoon from Erskine, Scotland. I will catch on replay. Out getting coffee, waiting to see you play Flashpoint. I have not gotten a chance to start painting on Flashpoint, but I will. I've finally been able to start doing some hobbying again now that I'm starting to feel better. I would say I'm probably at about 80, maybe 85%. I still have a cough, and that will probably stay around for a while, but yeah, otherwise I'm mostly back together. Although right now it is 90% humidity outside and has been for several days. It's not been hot. It's just been humid, like so everything is constantly like damp, you know, and we have an air conditioning unit, you know, we have air conditioning in the house, but it doesn't kick in when it's like 72 degrees outside. So I either have to turn the thermostat way down to get to kick in and then, you know, hopefully dry out the house a little bit, or, you know, so it's been a thing. But I am looking forward to fall. I'm not going to lie. Tony, how you doing? Hello from hot Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Sure. Hope you're feeling better. Mostly, like I said, probably about 80, 85%. It's pretty much just the cough right now at this point. Everything else is, for the most part, gotten better, so that's good. Hello from morning from Quebec. How you doing, Dragonfire? Gray Fox, ahoy. Brian Rombo, how you doing? Rainy Ottawa. It rained a bunch yesterday here. BF Bulldog, good morning from Yukon, Oklahoma. I hope you're doing well. Fist and Stone, good morning from rainy Boston. Hope you're feeling better. Yep, like I said, pretty much, which is good. I'm glad to hear it. It just went on and on and on. Good Lord. But I tested negative finally on Wednesday. So 3 days ago or 4 days ago, whatever it was. So that's good. Morning from Indy. How you doing? Hope you don't end up with too much COVID there. That's where I got mine. Let's see here. Good morning from Rhode Island. How you doing? New Jersey. Afternoon from Glasgow. Good time of day. Hope you are on the mend. Yep. Morning from Montreal. Howdy and good morning from Jonesboro in southern Illinois. How you doing? Good morning from Fort Wayne. How you doing? John Ashley Smith. Glad to see you recovered enough to muscle your way through today's live stream and chat. Yeah, I streamed on Twitch on Friday, but I didn't make it the full 3 hours because the cough really kicked in again. But I've got coffee now, and I've also, you know, once I get done with that, I do have some Ricola, some of those little thingies, and so that'll be fine. We'll see how it goes. But this is also 2 hours, so it probably shouldn't be okay. Do the ducks quack? I mean, if they want to keep their jobs, they better. Let's see here. Corpus Christi, good afternoon from the UK. Kent, England, good evening from Western Australia. It's wet here. My ducks are not only in a row, but floating in my driveway. Oh, well, that's not too bad. VJ Morph, how you doing? Good afternoon from the sunny and warm Isle of Wight. How you doing? Glad you're feeling better. Absolutely. I appreciate it, Blake. Let's see here. Good morning, Eric Lyons. Hello, Mr. Smasher. It's a pleasant sunny day, so the mini choice of mine to paint for today is Charming Little Frog from a Slavic folk game. Well, that's kind of cool. Let's see here. Good morning, good afternoon from Athens, Greece. Have you tried Spearhead? I have. I've only gotten one game in so far, and I'm currently working on my Skaven Spearhead. All I have left to do is the 3 rat ogres and then the big main guy riding on that weird rat horse. I don't know what the heck that thing's supposed to be. It's like a gnaw beast or something dumb like that. Anyway, once that's done, then I'll be able to play with those guys. So that'll be good too. Let's see here. Morning from sunny Milwaukee, trying to decide between Irish Fest or Ren Fair. See, it is not sunny here. It is cloudy. Sorry. It is cloudy here, yes. Had COVID in May, still about 20% off. Yeah. Like I said, so far, like it was not great, but I think it's, I don't know, as long as the cough doesn't linger for months, then I should probably be fine. Portugal, how you doing? Morning from sunny Milwaukee. Read that one already from Jesse. Good morning from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Glad you're on the mend. Me too. After 2 weeks in the UK, I feel like I'm starting to zero on my hobbies and figuring out what games to gear up and play. Nice. Howdy ho from Spokane. Good morning, Mr. Uncle. How you doing, Taylor? Hot and humid here. Temps should be dropping tonight. Well, that'd be nice. Yeah, it's just everything is just damp, and I just hate it. I can take heat better than I can take humidity, I think. Good morning from Lexington. Working on Rebel Troopers for Star Wars themed 5 parsecs. Nice. Hello from Alabama. We got summer right up until Christmas. Well, yeah, I suppose. Morning from mid-Michigan. Hope all is well. Sound like you're doing better. For the most part, yes, yeah. Good morning from Brussels. Morning from North Queensland. Good morning from Smoky, Saskatchewan. You're looking very bright today. Yeah, I got an overhead light over here that's kind of also lit up so that, I mean, the light shouldn't change much because it is just dead flat, like white. There's no like, it's not partly cloudy. It is just straight up cloudy, but I still figured it'd be good to have a little bit of extra beef just in case. A little bit of light beef. Let's see here. Morning from Brussels, North Queensland. Good morning from, I said Saskatchewan already. Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Morning from triple digits today in Oklahoma. Blech. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like I said, it's not been particularly hot here. It's been like I'm looking at my little widget on my desktop here, and like the high for today is 77, high for tomorrow is 76, high for Tuesday is 72. So it's not hot. It's just like the humidity is like 85, 95 all the time right now, which is sort of gross. Dry Nevada. Dry would be nice. But then, of course, like the temperature is like 120 or something sometimes. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. Good morning, Uncle Adam. Greetings from Montreal on our way over to Chicago via Toronto on the 401. Nice. Glad you're feeling better. Yeah, so far so good. Humid here as well. 89% humidity. Lousy day for airbrushing without a moisture trap. True. Yeah, moisture trap's good idea for that kind of stuff. Excited for kill teams to no longer work on shape algebra and free rules. Hopefully GW learned their way that Warcry rules are the blueprint for skirmish games. So yes, I hope so too. My concern is that, and I've kind of already talked a little bit about this, I think, but not so much here yet. So, now's a good time. I think they're going to still have the lists being dull. I think the lists, like the compendium type lists, are still going to just be but at least you won't have to buy the compendium, it sounds like, because everything's going to be downloadable. So that's at least one step in the right direction. As we can see also from the photos that they've put on the website over here, we can see that like right over on this little thing here, they actually put numbers on these goofy rulers instead of putting shapes. Hooray for them. That's a step in the right direction. That's great to hear. So that's two things. We got a lot of little tokens and stuff, which is it's a little bit of a problem maybe, but we'll see. The terrain looks great. Now, it's funny, these people are like, oh yeah, maybe they'll make it the same price as the 2018 stuff. I saw someone on Twitter say that, and I was like, they're obviously being facetious, because I think that Kill Team 2018 box, and I'm not 100% sure on this. I swear it was $135. This will be $285. Guarantee it. Maybe $265, but I bet this box will be $285. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll make it $250, but probably not. I bet you it'll be $285. So, yeah, the terrain looks good. I'm glad that they're making it so there's not a compendium you have to buy. That's awesome. But I have a very strong suspicion that they're just going to continue to do this like bespoke, you know, sure, if you want to use models you already have, you can. Good luck is what they're going to do. And it's going to stick with this. I also feel like they're not changing the rules very much. So we'll see how that works with the, like the biggest issue right now for the most part from what I've seen is that this game is the current version of Kill Team is number one, the cover rules make no sense. The cover rules are crazy and they keep changing it every time that they tweak like a new set, and it gets weirder and weirder. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, I have found, is that it's also a game that's much more about hide and seek and a little bit less about shooting people, it seems like. So there's that sometimes too. And I hope that, I don't know. I hope that they fix that stuff, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a ton of, like, the models look pretty cool. To be fair, honestly, the Scions are like, I don't know. The Scions are fine. The bugs are really cool though. The Vespids are very, very cool. I'm very much looking forward to painting them. The other guys are, but we'll see. So I don't know. It's going to be real interesting. Really, solo and co-op. Huh, that sounds familiar. Glad to see them doing something like that though, because I think it's a trend in this in gaming, tabletop wargaming. It's not necessarily a trend that it's certainly not one that we started. It may be one that we helped kind of scooch along and push, and so that's cool. But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting when they announced that in the video. I'm sure they'll make a video or an article about it, because like right now, this first article, like I said, didn't even mention some things that are in the video. And so I think that they'll probably put out like different articles, you know, as they get closer and closer to launch, or I don't know. I honestly, to be perfectly frank with you, I kind of figured that this announcement was going to come in a couple of weeks at Nova. I'm a little surprised they launched it pre-Nova. Excuse me. So yeah, normally I would have expected them to launch this at Nova, and the fact that they did it ahead of time was weird, but I guess it makes sense. Though now I don't know exactly what they're going to talk about at Nova, so they'll find something, I'm sure. Let's see here. Middle Tennessee checking in. How you doing? We're from gloomy Connecticut. Looking to be working on some terrain for Alpha Strike. Need to get some prints going. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, to some degree. Like I said, still got a bit of a cough. It's not going anywhere. Hope your coverage is going smoothly. It kicked my butt when I had it. Are you or Vince going to be doing anything for Maleb's one-box Wargame Challenge? I don't think so, only because we're in progress on the next issue of Snarl, which is going to come out in November. And then technically, so Snarl is written. It is currently in development, and then it will be in, what do you call it? Copy editing, proofreading, all that kind of jazz. And then it will go into layout. Basically, as soon as it gets done with development, then I'm pretty sure Vince is heading into our next big game, which will come out in probably late May, early June of 2025. So because we crank stuff out so fast and we do it so frequently, we don't really have extra time in there to throw in extra stuff, unfortunately. But I love the one box thing that Malev is doing there. I think that's a very cool concept. Good morning from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Painting models in my underwear. It's going to be a glorious day. Well, there you go. Got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Appreciate the Ricola yodel. There you go. Morning from North Georgia. How you doing? Afternoon from warm Puckle Church in the UK. Always fun to say Puckle Church. Also just getting over COVID myself. Also picked it up at a gaming event. Painting Mantic Orcs today. Yeah, it was definitely a Gen Con thing. I stayed with 9 guys. Well, no, I was one of 9 guys. So I stayed with 8 guys. We had a suite at this hotel, which was further away than we normally stay. It was walkable, but oh boy, it was like 0.6 miles, 0.7 miles, something like that. And it was generally in the 90s, both in the temperature and the humidity. The whole time we were there. According to my phone, I walked about 30 miles in about 5 days and then got COVID on the way home, basically. I mean, I picked it up somewhere, I don't know. But of the guys that I stayed with, 4 of us might have got it, I think. I don't know. But some didn't. So, I mean, my wife hasn't gotten it. Like, I've been home, yeah, she still hasn't gotten it. This was my first time getting it. I've never had COVID before until this time, and she still hasn't. And she was testing and all that stuff, and she feels fine. So, yeah, that is good though. Let's see here. I think that vid strain hit a lot of people coming from Gen Con. Yeah. Glad to see you're still streaming. Yeah, it's I missed a bunch, unfortunately. A, because I was gone, and then B, because I was sick. But I did get back into Twitch on Friday. Got about 2.5 hours in, and then finally the coughing got too bad. I'm doing this today. I'll be streaming again tomorrow night on Twitch again. So yeah. Good day from still too warm Berlin. It's funny because in Wisconsin there's Berlin. It's spelled Berlin, and it was pronounced Berlin until World War II, at which point they were like, no, it's not Berlin. No, it's Berlin. So yeah, there's Berlin and New Berlin, Wisconsin. So yeah. Good morning from the Gray Haven of Lansing, Michigan. How you doing? Good morning from rainy Syracuse. I'm listening while working on 24 Storm Babes troopers from across the realms. I don't think I'm familiar with any of that. Going to use them for one-page rules, Grimdark Future, and Space Weirdos. Nice. New kill team is also coming? Yes. So they announced it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning about my time, 10 a.m. They made a video. They were like, oh, it's a live stream. But I'm like, not really. It was one of those kind of overproduced videos with that guy. I don't know who that guy is. They have this just announcer guy who then talks to the designers and stuff like that. Nobody's got a last name anymore over at Games Workshop. It's just like, this is Wade and Elliot, and this is this guy. And you're like, oh, anyway. So they talked about the new box that'll be coming. Like I said, I think pre-order is supposed to happen in September, and it's shipping in October. I think the terrain, again, like I said, looks pretty good. I like it. It's good looking terrain. It's not a bunch of weird walls. It's not meat trees, thank God. I was concerned they were going to go down that direction. I think it was smart of them to go, you know what we need to do? Do more of what we did back in 2018. That stuff, that set sold really well. And this is, again, I think a fun set that people will enjoy. Can I zoom in on anything? No. These bug boys are pretty cool. It's been a long time since we've had some actual Vespids. It's, the Vespids were, this is not their first rodeo, but this is the first time they've been, I think, in plastic. I don't know if there were ever plastic Vespids. Maybe there were. But, yeah, the Vespids were an old buggy kind of design back in the day. They work with the Tau. And these are kind of a new take on them, but it still follows the same. Like, they still have that 6-eye thing going on there with the, but yeah, they look a lot the same, but they've got, they look better. They're much better sculpts than the old ones for sure. And some of them even have like a little bit of kind of Tau-ish sort of armor and stuff like that elements, which is super smart too. But yeah, they're very cool. I think these are great. I'm very looking forward to building and painting these guys. These are fine. I don't know. They're just basically regular Scions with a weird backpack. I know they talked a lot about how like, oh, well, they don't have like a bunch of stuff hanging off of them. They don't have like, because they're drop troops, so they don't have all kinds of, extra pouches and cables and things like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, that sure. But yeah, if you've ever, run Scions before, they're basically Scions, which is fine. They just got weird backpacks. So what's going to be very interesting is I feel like this new edition is going to be a lot more about verticality too. Like, maybe that's part of the reason why they're doing the terrain like this, because everybody can fly, basically, it sounds like, whether it's the bug guys with their flappy wings or whether it's the guys with the jump packs and stuff like that. But we do have definitely some sort of second floor kind of areas. It'd be interesting to see. It's one of those deals where it'd be really interesting to see if you could then add in a bunch of that kind of walkway stuff that they did with the last edition of Kill Team and mix those and match those. That would be kind of cool, because then you get a lot more up and down. The terrain for the last edition of Kill Team or whatever was that walkway over the water stuff. That stuff was, I didn't like it. But if you use it in conjunction with this and not have it over water, then it could be something useful, especially if everybody's got fly. Of course, it's just these two forces that have fly. It's not, all of the other previously made sets that do. So I don't know. But they also said they're going to have eventually, there's going to, like, the box will come with a soft cover, but you'll also be able to buy a hard cover if you want to, which is one of those things where they're like, it's like one hand gives, another hand takes away. One hand is like, hey, guess what? You don't have to buy the compendium anymore. It'll be a free download. But then they're also like, but if you do want to buy the hardcover because you're crazy, you can do that. I guess. I don't know. I don't know that I'm interested in buying a hardcover for a game that's going to have a new edition in 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. If this was like, oh, this is the thing that's going to sit around for a while and we'll be using it a bunch, great. But, or if it's really thick, like, I get to some degree, like the normal, like, 40K books being hardcover because they're, 8 inches thick or whatever. They're not exactly 8 inches. They're very thick though. I don't know that I'd want a 400-page softcover or even a 300-page softcover. Excuse me. But this book set will be about as thick probably as maybe like, I got a copy here. Like, it'll be like basically like Majestic 13, right? So this one's 144 pages and it's, soft cover, and that's fine. And that makes it inexpensive. We sell this for $19, and it's print on demand, which means that we don't get the benefit of volume. These guys are getting this printed in China, benefit of volume. It's going to be, let's say, roughly the same, thickness and all that stuff. That book will be $50 if you bought it separately, or the hardcover will. It's hard to say. But now, to be fair, there's to be color on the inside. Ours is black and white. So there's that kind of thing. But still, I don't know. I guess there's something to be said, because I've been saying for a long time, if you give us the option to download the rules for free and then give other people who love books and be like, I love the books, then give them the option to pay for a hardcover, then everybody's happy. So maybe that's what they're trying to do here. That would be nice, I think. We will see, though. Let's see, where was I? Just want to say thank you for the bamboo recommendations. Had mine now a couple of weeks, been printing like a madman. Every print flawless. Nice. I hope mine starts working again. I have not had the time to sit down and start messing with it. Like I said, for 3 entire kilos, so 3 entire spools of bamboo, or of, not bamboo, but you know what I mean, 3 entire spools of the filament in that bamboo printer, everything worked perfectly. And then all of a sudden, now it doesn't work at all. And so I just need to figure that out. It's very possibly the humidity, because it's humid. But it is a great printer. I just think either I got one that's screwy, or I got a bad spool, or I don't know what, but there's just problems. Morning from Mexico City, just recovering from COVID. I hope you feel better now. I hope you feel better now too. First day of school was Wednesday, feeling very achy and fatigued and really hoping this will be the first year in a long time I didn't get COVID on week 1. That would be nice, yeah. Hello from Chicagoland. How you doing? What are your thoughts on Games Workshop's statement about the accidental inclusion of female custodes? I don't know anything about that. I'm still over the moon after acquiring a copy of the Steel Rift rulebook last month. My head's spinning about kit bashing ideas. Steel Rift is very cool. James Deeds, how you doing? SFJ Films, hello from Western Australia. How you doing? Gilbert, Arizona. I like to paint minis. Nice. This is Abner and Isis from Laredo, Texas. Hope is all is good and doing well there. Well, I hope things are going well with you too. I am having... There we go. I clicked on something and I couldn't unclick it. There we go. Fixed it. Not a lot of hobbying this week. I'm packing for Summerfest and need to tidy as there is a unit inspection the day I return. Oh, wow. Morning from West Virginia, looking for Fallout, working on Fallout factions today. Nice. Yeah, those models don't look difficult to build, which will be nice. Evening from Western Australia. Morning from Buffalo, painting some tiny city streets for my Steel Rift bases. Very cool. See no Nick through the glass. Is he out on patrol? Yeah. My wife's mom. Yes, my mother-in-law is a organist at a church. She gets paid to play the organ and such. And so every once in a while she volunteers my wife to help her and duet and stuff. So yeah, my wife and Nick are at I don't remember the church, but they're doing a gig is basically. If new kill team is driven by jump packs and flyers, GW needs to give us free rules for assault intercessors with jump packs like they did for the in-session team. I mean, if they're going to be doing a bunch of free stuff, then I hope they would. Yeah, no, for sure. Like if the idea is that you don't get a compendium anymore, you just download these things for free. And it would be very interesting to see how they're going to do that. Like, again, are they going to do it where it's going to be very much the, is it going to be PDFs like you do with Combat Patrol? Is it going to be maybe something else? Like it's going to be a little bit of, I hope it's like, I don't know, like I would love a little bit. Well, not everybody has access to that. I would love them to go back. I used to love the electronic codices that they used to do that worked on the iPad that were all like enhanced and stuff like that. But I don't know if they'll do that. Maybe they'll do an app. I mean, I guess that would be smart too. I hope that they don't then charge for the app. You know what I mean? I hope it's not one of those deals where like, hey, you can download these PDFs for free and you can do that, or you can use the app, but the app is attached to like Warhammer Plus or something dumb like that. So hopefully that's not a thing they do. We'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Seems they will get rid of the strange symbols for measuring movement in the new edition. Yeah, no, that they kind of needed to do that. Did I miss something, or are all of the faction and core rules going to be free downloads? I mean, the core book might be free as well. I suppose that's possible. I know that basically what would be the compendium, they did say yes in the video. They said that would be free. I don't know if the core rulebook would be free. I suppose there's probably a portion of the core rulebook that would be free, but then maybe the solo and co-op rules aren't part of that free download. Maybe the campaign rules or whatever aren't part of that free download, but the actual core rules, this is how you shoot people in the face, this is how you jump on people's heads, that kind of stuff, that stuff is probably part of the free thing. That would make sense. Afternoon from sunny, breezy Newcastle, Northern England. Busy making terrain for Deth Wizards. Nice. Got zapped by a friend on IG saying they've started playing too, and it's partly my fault. Nice. Must be getting old, starting to look at historical stuff. That'll happen sometimes. That'll happen. Maybe the other sides of the gauges have the shapes. Gosh, I hope not. I hope they just got rid of that altogether. If you've checked out the bordering actions detachments, they're very fluffy combinations. A kill team to boarding actions would be a great onboarding experience. I just want them to make it so that I can play with what I want but they're not going to do that. I can guarantee it. They're not. You know, they're going to have, hey, here's a bunch of the bespoke lists and stuff like that. We've made a bunch of bespoke lists over the last 3 years. So here's new stats for all of those. And then you'll be like, yeah, but what if I want to just play with like regular old Necrons and not a bespoke Necron list? They'll be like, sure, that's cool. Why don't you play with some Necrons? You're like, can I customize them and do this and this and this? And they'll be like, nope. So I'm pretty sure that's the way it's going to go, but it will be interesting. God, I hope I'm wrong. That'd be awesome if I was wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Over the Moon, the GW finally did solo rules. Yeah, like I said, I think it's very interesting. For sure. I mean, it makes sense too, especially if you're trying to, like they said in the video, if you just decide that you want to teach a friend how to play and you teach them by squishing them all the time, they're not going to be interested in playing. But if you're both on the same team and you're, squishing bad guys that are just, being like a horde mode kind of thing, then that's fine. That's a good way to teach, I think. So yeah. Can you guys hear me? Am I still here? It says down here chat was disconnected. I knew I should have closed the door to the den. Can anybody see me? Anyone? Any response here? Do we got internet? Did we lose internet? Kind of figured I would have seen something. Why is chat disconnected? I can't tell if anything's going on or not. Like, it looks like it should be working. It doesn't show being disconnected, but there's no chat. Why would chat be disconnected? VJ just sent me a message on Discord that says I've been back for ages. Well, Lord. All right. Hang on just a sec. Be right back. All right. I've closed the den and kicked out Margot, who probably reset things, but for some reason, I'm unable to connect to chat, so that's super helpful. Can I reload? There we go. Okay, you're fine. There we go. We see you. Okay, I don't know why it was just, but the chat window itself just decided like, no, let's not do that anymore. And now the sun's coming out. Oh my goodness. All right. So, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Sorry about that. What's up with YouTube today? Glitching like mad. Yep. Let's see. So I gotta love it. All right, there we go. There was some buffering early on, then cleared up. Don't think it's a hardware issue. No, I'm sure it was a cat issue. All right, there we go. All back. Poor Margot taking the blame. Well, I did go into the den, and guess who was in the den? It was Margot. So now she has been ejected from the den. You know where she could come and hang out? She could hang out right here next to me. She could just right there. There's a nice little bed for her, but she won't. All right. Hello from Tampa. Uncle Adam, we love you. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Squirrel out in the tree. So anyway, what was I talking about? Kill team. I don't know. I don't know if any of that stuck or if any of that got through. But kill team, like I said, I would love to see them do. I would love to see them give you some options for non-bespoke lists. And when I say bespoke lists, if you don't know what I'm talking about, whenever like they made any of those boxes that came out over the last 3 years where you would get like 2 forces in there. So like it started with Veteran Guardsmen, aka Death Corps of Krieg, and Orc Commandos. Those were both in the 2021 version of Kill Team, both bespoke, designed for Kill Team boxes. And then they just kept doing that. They kept making these forces that were designed specifically for Kill Team. And most of them, not all of them, unfortunately, but most of them, if you just bought the one box, that was fine. You could make a good list. But there were some of them where they're like, if you really wanted to make, if you wanted to use the options that the very few options that they were giving you, then you needed 2 of those boxes, which is not cool. So if you're going through this whole thing to be like, well, look, you just got to buy 1 box. Well, what about this one and this? Well, okay, that you need to buy 2 boxes. So it's just not great. But on the other hand, you could just go, well, I've already got a bunch of 40K models or whatever, or I want to buy specific 40K models and do this and that. You could, but you didn't really get any options to do that. You didn't like, again, back in 2018 version of Kill Team, I had a Necron Kill Team that was like 2 or 3 Immortals, 2 or 3 or 4, I forget the exact number, of warriors. And then there was a single death mark. And then there were like 2 or 3... flayed ones. These are the flayed ones. And so you could use those and have 4 different types of models and have them in your list, and it was very cool, and you could, do whatever you wanted. And you can do that with all kinds of different things. Then when 2021 came out, they're like, you can basically have 2 different types of models in your, so if you wanted to go Necrons, you could go like 5 Immortals and 5 Warriors, or you could go 5 Immortals and 5 Immortals, or you could go 5 Immortals and 5 Death Marks. Why you would have 5 Death Marks ever doesn't make any sense. But it was like, yeah, I don't know. It was very dull and bland because they wanted you to buy the extra boxes, the boxes with the bespoke models, because they were slightly less bland. And that was my biggest problem. That, and also I just didn't really like the rules set up that very much there either. But yeah. Have to say, I love the Bamboo app. Sitting on my couch, browsing fun stuff to print and sending to the machine without getting off my bum has been pretty much the best thing ever. Oh yeah, no, the Bamboo app is awesome. Just being like sitting up here and being like, I should probably print more of those that I did, didn't I? Yeah, and then just being able to go back and find the thing and say, yeah, run that again. Just knowing that I don't have anything on the plate downstairs, that's helpful. But you can also look at the plate downstairs, the little camera, which is also great. The Bamboo, I think the Bamboo setup's the best. I just think I either got a bum one or I did something really wrong. I don't know what. But up until the point at which it stopped working, it worked great, nonstop for quite a while. She has a cat. She would probably prefer an empty box. I mean, there are some empty boxes around. Let's see here. Print up some Hieronymus Bosch STLs for Rain and Hell. Nice. Do you think the success of the Dark Tide board game prompted GW to include a co-op mode in the new Kill Team? No, because it's too soon. They have a tendency... Everything that Games Workshop does, they do way in advance, right? So the concept for what they wanted to do with this version of Kill Team probably started in 22, honestly. I would be very surprised if they started any later than that. It was probably, well, now the sun's out. It was probably 2022 when they first started working on the new upcoming version of Kill Team. So, they don't have enough time to react if, like, Dark Tide came out and was even popular or whatever, then them going, oh geez, we should do that too. Like, that stuff was all already underway. They plan everything so far out in the future that I doubt that it's the case. Love Kill Team 2 editions ago, but was unhappy with the changes last edition. Same here. I'll wait and see exactly how this new one works before I decide to buy in. I don't think they're changing the rules greatly. I'm just hoping that they're going to fix cover rules, because the cover rules are dumb. And I hope they make it, like I said, less of a game of hide and seek. So yeah. Inquisitor set was bad for that, and sure. Oh yeah, yeah. One thing I'm really missing from Kill Team is list building. I love tinkering, and bespoke teams have nothing to tinker with. I agree. That's exactly the case. But yet I get people all the time who are like, well, yeah, but it's so much better now because of that, because you don't have to. And I'm like, but if you want to, though, then it's not better. They're like, yeah, but it's way better for balance and stuff like that, and for tournament play. I'm like, but I don't play tournament play. So it's always very interesting to get people who, when you put out an opinion on the internet, then people will tell you that you are wrong. And I'm like I don't mind someone saying a different opinion. That makes sense. If I say, oh, I think this thing, and they say, well, I think this thing. Okay, cool. We have differing opinions. That's fine. But when they're like, well, no, that's not true. I'm like, no, it is. It's because it's my opinion. It is true. That's how opinions work. About things like that. If my opinion is that the sky is green, okay, well, that's wrong. True. But if my opinion is I like chocolate ice cream better than vanilla ice cream, or vice versa, or whatever, that is true, because it is about how I like that thing. Anyway. If this box is $220 with discount, easy pass. Voting with my wallet, enough is enough. Oh gosh, I don't think this box will be $220. I'm sure it'll be more than that. Excuse me. Bamboo Labs products just rock. Hate that Adam is having issues. I'm not a fan of it either. I'm not going to lie. And like I said, it worked awesome. It was spectacular until all of a sudden it just won't feed the stuff through anymore. And I took apart the entire head, and there's like a metal wheel in there with little teeth on it that pulled the filament down through there, and it was gunked up with all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, oh, there's the problem. And I cleaned it all up, and then it seemed like it worked fine, except it didn't. And then I took it all apart again, cleaned more gunk that had just got on there since the last try, but not as much as there had been on a previous. And it's just, and now it won't. When you tell it to, like, I would like to take the filament off, please, it goes over to one side and it pushes this little button that cuts the filament. It won't go all the way over to that side anymore. It sits there and it wiggles and stuff like that. And so now I have to download a log file and take a video of it and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to Gen Con. And then after Gen Con, I'm like, I'm going to have COVID for a couple of weeks. So I haven't had the time. But I do want to get that done. There's a part of me, honestly, that's thinking about just buying a slightly, like either buying the P1P or the P1S or something like that, and then having this as a backup down the road, or perhaps seeing if my friend Dave wants it and maybe he can fix it up and then, I don't know, give me $100 for it or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's not particularly expensive, the A1. It was like, I mean, it's not cheap, but it's like $400, which is pretty good for what it is. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't decided. I repeat, do not want to do multicolor, just because it's so wasteful with all the little boogers that it kicks off every time it has to change color and stuff like that. But just using single color makes total sense. Let's see here. I preferred the last edition, but would like a bit more team building. See, that's that. We just have differing opinions, and that's fine. I mean, we both want more team building, but you preferred last edition. That's fine. But I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. They need to put Kill Team back in the rear of the rulebook as a play mode that uses Codex units, like in 4th edition, and concentrate on Necromunda. Gosh, I don't know about either of those things. The problem with the reason I didn't like the old Kill Team, like back before 2018, was because you needed to have the 40K rulebook and a codex, and then you could play this sort of weird thing that they threw in there that they called Kill Team. So yeah, not a big fan there of that. Necromunda, I had somebody in the tweet at me yesterday. They're like, well, I don't know why you want to play Kill Team anyway. Necromunda is just a better game. And I'm like, I mean, Necromunda is a very, very dense game of a specific type. It's much more about campaign play and blah blah blah. But you know, it's a different game. It's not, you know, but I would much rather play One Page Rules Gang War than play Necromunda. Necromunda is for me personally, way too dense, and I'm not super into that amount of density. Just bought the Kill Team Salvation box. I can finally look forward to assembling plastic scorpions and newish scouts. There you go. Hope it goes the way of Old World and base new Kill Team on original Kill Team and be a Kill Team versus Horse, and then you and your opponent swap so you had a Horde, probably not Horse. And then you had your Horde and your opponent. Oh, it could be. Non-GW stuff is more compelling than what GW does these days. Well, yeah, in many situations. I'm still playing Kill Team 2018 and still enjoy it. See, that's cool. I think OPR and all the other indie skirmish games inspired them for the co-op and solo modes. I mean, that's very possibly the case, is that they are looking at like trending and things like that. Dark Tide board game is really good. If the new Kill Team is like that, it will be a lot of fun. I don't know if it will be like that or not, actually. If the sun's out, you know what that means. Sun's out, guns out. Oh, no, I don't have any guns. I know the GW is the big thing that always gets talked about, but I'm glad that Peachy has been diving into smaller games like Silver Bayonet, Frostgrave, Stargrave. Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, the reason that I'm interested in this Kill Team in this situation is a couple different things. Number one is because I always like, A, I like skirmish games. B, I liked the original Kill Team and then didn't really like the new Kill Team. And then I kept telling people, well, there'll be a new one in 2024. And people were like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, there will be. And, you know, there was. That sounds like they're making some changes, some things hopefully for the better, but I don't know all, you know, overall long term. None of us know it yet, so we'll find out soon. Love how you and Peachy are getting the word out on the smaller games. Like I said, I sometimes talk about the big stuff. Like you can't ignore Games Workshop if you're making a channel about tabletop wargaming. It would be not smart to do so. Especially in the situation in which I am in, which is to say I am trying to teach people how to get into the hobby. Most people who are getting into the hobby are probably getting into the hobby to some degree because of Games Workshop. Now, there will always be outliers. There'll always be people who are like, oh, yeah, well, the first game that I ever played that was a wargaming game was like this weird thing that 12 people have ever heard of in the entire world. And that's fine. That happens from time to time. But for the majority of folks, they're like, I was playing that video game and then I realized that you could get little plastic dudes and then I was kind of interested in that. Or, you know, whatever. Lord knows the licensing brings a lot of, it's the milkshake that brings all the boys to the yard, as it were. But I don't want to focus on it. I just like to mention it and talk about it, but I don't generally focus on it. This is, for me, one of those things I focus on a little bit more because, again, I'm interested in Kill Team. I just haven't enjoyed the most recent edition, and so I'm hoping that they maybe fix it some. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how it works out. But in general, I personally find myself playing more indie stuff anyway these days, so there's that too. GW is always reactionary. Gaslands and Frostgrave through Osprey, for example, responded with Age of Sigmar free skirmish booklet during 1.0 and Speed Freaks. I wondered about Speed Freaks, you know what I mean? I wondered if Speed Freaks was a reaction to Gaslands. I don't think so. And again, they always take like a really long time to get anything done. Everything they like, I don't think that they have, like, I don't think that they would have the ability to get a game done in a year. Like, if they really tried, sure, of course they could. They've got plenty of people who work there. They could do that. But in most situations, the planning is already in board. Like, there are times when maybe the rules get written very quickly, but the models have been in progress for 2 years or 3 years at this point or whatever. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't start working on the next edition of Kill Team, which would be the 2027 version. They'll probably start working on that either later this year or beginning of next year, probably. Did you see Stratasys has dropped a lawsuit on Bamboo? I don't know who Stratasys is. is probably hopefully going to get dropped because it is for things pretty much every 3D printer uses, like heated beds. Oh, I did see something about some company going, oh yeah, no, we're suing because heated beds. And you're like, I've from what I have heard, it's been a real long time since a filament printer any company made a filament printer that didn't have a heated bed. Like, is there ever been one without a heated bed? Like, how would stuff stick to your plate? That's just weird. Yeah. So when are you going to paint the bespoke 3D prints from Deth Wizards on Twitch? Excuse me. I apologize. I don't know yet. I'm currently working on the rats, the Skaven guys. The models I've got the models printed and I've got them on bases, and their bases are textured and they are primed. Now that I come to think of it, they're Zenithal primed. I Zenithal primed those guys a bit ago. If you're wondering what we're talking about, here, let me do this. Deth Wizards game. So, as part of Deth Wizards, you can buy the books or you could buy the cards. And we have a line working with Knucklebones Miniatures. We have a line of 6 different necromancers. You got the War Reaper, the Controller, the Monster Master, the Spirit Caller, the Stitcher, and the Dread Horde Master. Now, you don't have to use these models, but you can if you're interested in doing so. We worked with Maddie from Knucklebones, and he sculpted these up. And you can either buy them as an STL via My Mini Factory, or if you don't have a printer and you just want to get them printed, there's a link in the bottom for each one, also for Only Games, which will then be a printed version that will be then mailed to you. So there's that too. But I do have those guys all printed, and like I said, I got my friend Dave to print them, and they're textured and they're on bases and the whole deal. So, whoops, what did I just do? There we go. So yeah, that is something that'll be coming probably after I get done with Spearhead. Or the Skaven Spearhead, not. Let's see here. Majority of players and fans of 40K stuff don't play at tournaments. It's a poor argument. Yeah, I agree. Anyone like 5 Clicks from the Zone? I just bought that game. I'm assuming that must be one of the 5 parsecs from. I don't think I know 5 Clicks from the Zone. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that one. I'm assuming it's by the same guy that does 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, 5 parsecs from home, that kind of stuff, or whatever. Bespoke is better for balancing tourneys, but how many of us actually play tourneys? They seem constrained by the competition scene. Yeah, it does feel like they decided to push pretty hard in the last edition to making it a competitive game. The fact that it's now going to have solo and co-op makes me wonder if they're not trying to start swinging in the other direction again. It's hard to say. Couldn't stand the amount of books in this edition to Kill Team and the fact that they split rules from stats for teams. Yeah. I just loved the old original version where you bought a book for $40 and it had not only the rules in it, but most of the army lists, at least until they started coming out with new armies like Sisters of Battle and stuff like that. But otherwise, all the stuff was in one $40 book. And I know that doesn't make them enough money, evidently, but boy, it sure was nice for the people. If I had to bet, I would say 250, but I wouldn't be surprised at 280. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm thinking maybe 285. Heard the tech support for Bamboo is pretty awesome, so I hope they get you sorted. Yeah, me too. Not a fan of the new Kill Team reveal. The Scion jetpacks just look goofy, and the Holy Tactical Rocks Batman, no thanks. The jetpacks do look a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they're not. I don't know. I'm not sure. That thing's fine. Whatever. They do just look a little tacked on. I don't know. It's fine, but it's I don't know that I would paint them in that scheme for sure. I can tell you that for sure. But yeah, these guys they're fine, but but these guys though, the bug guys, these guys I definitely want. So I'm looking forward to these guys a lot because I can use these in any kind of game, and they're just awesome looking in my opinion. So let's see here. 175. Oh boy, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But that's not going to happen. GW Old World Terrain seems really expensive. GW Old World anything seems big. Well, just GW seems expensive these days. It's a lot. Multicolor does make some really nice prints, though. Found so many awesome Super Mario multicolor prints. Yeah, but it's just so much waste every time it changes colors. Hey, Uncle Adam, how are the minis for Flashpoint by Mantic? They're basically like pre-built, so they're okay. They're not great, but they're for basically a pre-built miniature, they're not bad. So yeah, I'm gonna scrape some mold lines, of course, and then I'm gonna probably try to prime them up. Necromunda has so much going on. There's no reason to put more resources on it, like it's doing so fine. Hey, Molly. Manor House is one of those items highly sought after, so I'm not surprised you to be basing the retail on eBay scalping prices. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either. That's a good point. I think I'm going to just buy a copy of Mordheim. Well, I mean, good luck with that. I don't know. How are you going to buy a copy of Mordheim? They haven't sold it in 20 years. Like if you just get like I don't know how you would do that. Just hope GW leaves it alone. Yeah, I agree on that. Let's see here. The old kill team had too few dice rolls. I feel like 3 or more dice is much more satisfying. Hey, little girl. Come up here. Psst. You're going to jump up on the desk, aren't you? No? Okay, I'll see you later. Oh, there's something outside. I think she sees a bird or something. Honestly, I don't need that many dice rolls. That's part of the thing, too. I think that sometimes GW stuff has way too many dice rolls. Like, oh, you hit him. Okay, cool. Now you got to roll again. Okay, now you got to roll again. Now you got to roll again. And then he needs to roll. Okay. Next turn. Or, whatever. Next thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Have you noticed they took the symbol of the ruler and put numbers? Yes. It was good that they did that. Which means that they're then obviously... like they had to basically start over from scratch on everything because they used to be like, oh, well, this is they would just tell you the ranges in symbols. And so now it's different. What are you guys doing? There are many cats who are all looking out the window at the same time. It's something out in the bushes. I don't know if there's a bird out there. Yeah, so that was a complaint that everybody had about that game. So I'm glad that they got rid of that. Hello from Uptown in Chicago, painting ogres for the old world this morning. Nice. Thought about getting into Necromunda, but all the books, I literally have no idea where to start. Nobody does. There's a YouTube channel called Miniatures Rundown that they had a video about how to get started in Necromunda. Well, it wasn't a single video. It was a video series about how to get started in Necromunda. And yeah, Miniatures Rundown. Take a look for that. If you are interested, they do have a video series about how to get started in the game, which is difficult. I think that there's an entire series that you have to go through. But yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting setup that they've decided to kind of go with there on that game, making it so incredibly dense. But I guess it's something. Let's see here. Now I want ice cream. I kind of want ice cream too. I just don't like Necromunda's setting or aesthetic. See, I like the setting and aesthetic a lot. Way more than the rules, as it turns out. Random question, you going to Nova Open? Yes, that is the plan. I'm going to be there with the Army Painter folks, and I will be there. It'll be fun. Did I see some details that finally come out about that GW Henry Cavill Amazon project? I saw something about there was something mentioned in their yearly report about how they have until the end of the year to figure something out and then blah, blah, blah. But then they'll probably just get an extension. From what I understand, that's sort of standard. But a lot of people were like, oh, there's trouble in paradise. And I'm like, I don't know that's what that means, but all right. Let's see here. Big question is that they said the rules would be free for the new Kill Team. Do you think they will stay that way, or will it like be the new 40K edition? Pardon me. I suspect that the like stats will stay free. So it will be like, okay, so in 40K, the indexes were all free right at the beginning when it launched. Everybody got access to a free index until you got a new codex, and then your index went away, and then you had to use the codex. I don't think that they'll do that with Kill Team. If I had to suspect, I would say that you'll just be able to download all of the stuff, just, you know, going forward and from then on. Because there's no codices. So they won't be like, well, we want you to buy the codex, so we have to get rid of the old rules. They'll just be like, if you can still find these models from 2 years ago, you know, like the Space Marine Scouts box, and you've got a box of those guys, you found them at your local store, and you want the rules for them so you can play in the new version of Kill Team, you want to be able to get access to that without having to buy another $50 or $60 compendium book, right? So they want you to be able to download that stuff and have it. And again, whether it's a PDF or who knows what, but that stuff will be free. And I doubt that they will come back later and then say, okay, we need to replace it with this. Now, as far as the core rules, I don't know anything about that yet, but I have a suspicion it will be the specific core rules, how you shoot people, how you punch people, how you die, how you don't die, that kind of stuff. But then the solo, the co-op, and probably the campaign stuff, that will probably be in the book. But, you know, the book will be something you could buy separately. But if you buy the box with the bugs and the jump pack Scion guys, the book's going to come in there anyway. So, you know, I'm not against them selling the core rule book, whether it's, again, something that shows up in your you know, in a box that you get, or if it's something you just buy at the store. Like, you don't want to buy any new terrain, you don't want to buy any new models, you just want to get into the new edition. You already got stuff from the old edition, you don't need to buy the whole box. Let's say you don't like the bugs, you don't like the Scion guys, you just want to use, okay, cool. So just being able to buy the book and then have everything you need and download the rules for your old lists, that's fine. That doesn't bother me too much. But there is a benefit too to making it so at least you could put the core rules out there, which is just the rules portion of the book, not the, again, solo and a co-op and all that kind of stuff. Put that out there for free, so at least people can thumb through it and go, oh, I see they changed this. Oh, they tweaked this. Oh, this didn't change. That's a smart move to get people to eventually maybe even buy the regular softcover or even the hardcover if they decide to go down that road too. So yeah. I think I'd like it if Kill Team was slightly more Warcry-ish. So many ops, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I agree. Let's see here. Why isn't there a Kill Team version of Underworlds baffles me. I mean, I think they just were like, look, Underworlds did well until it didn't. You know what I mean? Like, Underworlds was like big for a while when it first came out, and then it just sort of dropped. Some people still play, certainly, and there's still events here and there at you know, bigger tournaments and things like that. Nova, LVO, some of that happens, but it's not, I think, selling like it used to. So, and what's so weird is they've decided, okay, because it used to be that you could take so many of those models from from Underworlds and then use them in Age of Sigmar, and now you can't, because they've taken so many of them out of Age of Sigmar. So now you can't double dip with them. So now I'm wondering if they're just going to start shutting down Underworlds. I wouldn't be surprised if they would. Speed Freaks was a very fun game. Still enjoy it. And now there's a video game version that's a free download. Let's see here. Kill Team has been my gateway into 40K since I only own a couple boxes of the minis at the moment. I'm so happy there's a new version with those without those shapes. Oh yeah, for sure. Where are we? Morning from Kansas City. How you doing? Speaking of new editions, it seems Games Workshop and Barnes & Noble have just put out Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition 2nd Edition. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Speed Freaks and Gaslands have almost nothing in common except for cars with guns go vroom. I mean, sure. Speed Freaks was pointless, just play vehicles, only Orc Codex done. Been doing that for years before Speed Freaks came out, sure. Howdy from Plymouth, Wisconsin. Glad you're feeling better. Mostly, getting there. Speed Freaks seems closer to Rocket League to me. Can't wait for new kill team co-op rules. Also, whole house dehumidifier in central air is amazing. Yeah, like when the air is running, then it's dehumidifying. But we should look into that. So now we can expect a new kill team for every Summer Olympic year. Well, it's every 3 years. Are the Summer Olympics every 3 years? I don't think so. I have no idea, honestly. Morning from sunny OCCA. Working on building and priming Infinity. Please send help. These metal models. Ugh, yeah, right. That is the issue, I think, still with Infinity for me. Well, it's one of the issues. I mean, I love the concept of it. Love the look of it. The rule set still just does not quite grab me. And those metal models, though. That's the other problem. The company has the patents to back up the claims, and that's what makes things crazy. They could sue several other companies unless the others are just paying for the patents. I mean, if they just want to pay for the patents, I guess. I don't know. There we go. It's weird. Gaslands also rocks. Also true. Just bought 2nd edition Kill Team, and I just finished painting. Well, you gotta get faster, because every 3 years, man, they're always. That's the thing. That's what drives me nuts about Games Workshop these days, is that it's every 3 years with almost everything, and they're just going to continue doing that, and then people can't keep up, just like I can't keep up with the lighting in here. All right. I think what I'm going to end up having to do is I'm going to have to swap out this camera with a much fancier camera that I can tell to change variably the ISO. And I kind of don't want to do that, but I'm going to have to give it a try. Gaslands released 2017. Speed Freaks released 2018. Yeah, I don't think Speed Freaks was a result or was a response to that, because like I said in the past, everything they do takes years. So they wouldn't have done that. There's a part of me that has thought in the past that Warhammer Underworlds, Shadespire was the initial edition. I always thought that there was a possibility that that was like a direct response to X-Wing. There's still a part of me that feels that way, but it might be too soon. It might have been from the time X-Wing got real hot to the time that Shadespire came out, there might have been not enough time. But they also could have just been like all hands on deck and made sure this got cranked out, but I don't know. It's hard to say. About the other Sunday, Gundam battle in MechWarrior scale. Yes, please. Ooh. We also need a Thanksgiving-themed add-on for Necromancer turkeys for Deth Wizards. Yes, I'm talking about Deth Wizards. Whoa. Let's see. Good morning, listening while cleaning the garage. Oh, that's good. Unless it's really hot, then that's no fun. OPR has a custom army builder. Yep, it does. It's a really good one. It was just crap before. Now all of a sudden it's got to be sunny? Come on, man. No, that's too dark. Anyway. All my friends went in and converted our favorite 40K armies with their calculators, so now we just play OPR and 3D print our stuff in 20mm because we like the scale. See, that's the thing that's awesome about tabletop wargaming, is that you can just do what you want with it. And you can just be like, well, we're not going to follow these rules. We're going to do these rules, or we're going to tweak this and we're going to change that. And that's what's awesome about it. I'm working on a custom crew for core space, combo of 3D printed stuff and kit bash and green stuff. Nice. Bolt Action 3rd edition is coming. Would like to see some content from you about it. Probably not going to happen. I'm not interested in Bolt Action. Not that there's anything wrong with the company or anything like that. I'm just not. I'm not interested in World War II as a game. Like, I think that it's an interesting period of time, obviously, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not against like historians or whatever. But I'm not. I don't want to play a game about something my wife's grandpa was in. You know what I mean? Like my wife's grandfather was a Marine Raider in the Pacific Theater, and never talked about it. Never. And I don't want to make that into a game, I guess. So that's just personal. I'm not against other people doing it, but that's fine. Now, that being said, they're also making a 3rd edition of Conflict 47. Now, Conflict 47 didn't happen because there's laser tanks and werewolves in it. So that I'm more interested in. The other problem, however, unfortunately, is the fact that nobody around here plays it. So if I can somehow trick some people into playing it, then maybe. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I like the bolt action folks. I like the people from Warlord. They do good work. It's just not a game for me. The one game of theirs that I am interested in, that I did pick up, and I'm more likely to play anyway, even if I have to play it by myself, is Judge Dredd. I bought some stuff from them actually a while back. Warlord makes that too. So also, Judge Dredd didn't happen, just FYI. Any thoughts on the recently announced Middle-earth New Edition? Oh, Lord. No, I had no idea that there was a new edition of Middle-earth coming out, but I guess it doesn't surprise me. Game has been relatively unchanged for a long time, but some big changes were implied. Here's the question. Does anybody want that? Like, I don't know. That's what I'm just asking. Like, that's the thing that's so crazy, is that they're like, oh, we're going to make a big new edition. And people like, because there's a lot of people that still play that game. Not like as many as 40K or Age of Sigmar. But when I go to Nova Open in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, whatever the heck it is, there will be, like, last several years, there's been a tournament of 80 or 90 people playing Middle-earth Strategy Battle. And I would love to know whether those people are like, oh gosh, this really needs a new edition. We need to change everything up and make everything different. I bet they wouldn't be interested, but that is kind of the way that works. Tournaments and high competition killed my interest in Magic the Gathering as well. I can understand that. Come to war games from RPGs, so I'm not too hung up on winning all the time. Also good. Oh, good. The sun's come back out again. Kill Team narrative play could be cool. Give it a less dense Necromunda vibe. Just to let me level my little guys up. People like to level their little guys up. That's, that's why we... Excuse me, apologize. That's why we like to put that kind of stuff into the games that Vince and I make, is because people like doing that. And now it is dark. Part of the problem about being in the sunroom is the sun. Gaslands is awesome. Love how you can have multiple players, and the answer to anything in the rules is that it's unclear is maximum carnage. Sure. Full 10th edition 40K has also lost a ton of the list building flair as well. GW is trying to keep their stuff as very shallow pool. I prefer my pool to have a shallow end and a deep end. I didn't mind... I know a lot of people complained about the fact that war gear didn't have a cost anymore. That I liked. I like being able to just be like, you know what feels bad? When you are like building a list and then you're like, I want to have this guy have a plasma pistol and I don't have 5 points to be able to do it. That drives me nuts. That's why I used to have to magnetize crap all the time, because you'd be like building a list and be like, this guy can't have that weapon, so I got to pull it off, stick it over here, and then put a different weapon on him, and it's less good, but well, okay, whatever. It used to drive me nuts. I used to hate that. So when with 10th edition, the one thing I really like about 10th edition is the fact that you can just take whatever weapons you want, and within reason. Obviously, you can't take too many of them. They give you, like say, this squad can have like 1 plasma guy, but you don't have to be like, oh well, I have to take the Melta guy because he's 5 points cheaper than the plasma guy, even though I don't want the Melta guy, I want the plasma guy. I like that stuff, and I know there's been people who hate that for some reason. That's cool, whatever. But the thing that I'm seeing with 10th edition specifically, and well, 40K in general over the last several editions, is that things have just become, again, a lot more homogenized to some degree. And I think, again, that is completely because of tournament play. I think that them trying to strip down and strip down and strip down is just because then that way it makes tournament play easier to balance, or to attempt to a balance at least. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of terrain in that kill team box. Going to be expensive. Definitely 250 plus. Yeah, like I said, I'm putting out 285, but we'll see. Is there any hope for Elysians returning? I don't know. Like, I've heard the term bandied about. I don't really know anything about them. I kind of thought Kasrkins were the same thing as Elysians, but maybe not. I don't know. I like the Vespid for sure. Yeah, the Vespid are very cool. Did you ever try the narrative mode for Kill Team 2021? The 2 campaigns I tried felt interesting when it comes to army base building. No, because I couldn't get over the rules. Like just the standard base core rules. They just didn't do it for me. And like I said, my fear is they're not going to change the core rules much, and then it'll be more of the same with this new edition. At the very least, they'll use numbers instead of symbols. That'll be something. Hopefully it'll become less of a game of hide and seek. That'd be nice. And hopefully they fix cover rules. That'd be great too, because the cover rules are not great. But we'll see. Vespid are surprisingly cool. Yeah, I think that, you know, I mean, making giant bug guys with guns, that seems like it should be not hard to do. I mean, I don't want to like say that it was easy, but I want to say like it gives you a lot of place to play as a sculptor and go, oh yeah, like really cool, evil looking bug dudes. That's, yeah. Let's see here. I have all the Middle Earth books, working on the models, GW. Here's a new edition. Number of times I played in the last edition, 0. Yep. AMG terrain tends to challenge GW when it comes to price for what you get. I bought some Star Wars Shatterpoint terrain because I thought it was just really cool. And looking at it objectively, like seeing it in the flesh at a convention, I was like, even though that is designed for the bigger, like 40 millimeter style models, you could still use, there's nothing there where like a 28 millimeter model would look like tiny. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like if you were to, like if it was a gas station, let's say, you know, like a normal modern gas station, and it was 40 millimeter because it was for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and then you tried to put some 28 millimeter Space Marines next to it, you'd be like, why are they so tiny? Because it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But there are certain types of things, like certain buildings where the doors are going to be big anyway, or walkways, and like, you know, the walkway, how do you know whether you're the right scale for the walkway? Maybe it's just a wider walkway, you know what I mean? So like there are certain things in terrain that can definitely affect scale, I've found, where you can look at it and go, well, that looks wrong. Like I said, I bought at Nova last year, there was a company there that was selling a bunch of 3D printed stuff, and they had this like modern gas station, and I'm like, that would be very cool for some ideas I've got for some terrain. But they had the version scaled up to 40 millimeter for Marvel Crisis Protocol. But then in their booth, they also had some Space Marines and other stuff like that, so you could kind of like compare scale. And I was like putting the Space Marine next to the gas pumps, and the gas pumps were like way bigger than Space Marines. And I was just like, yeah, that's not going to work. And the guy's like, what's wrong? I'm like, it's just, you know, the scale is way too big. I don't really play, you know, Marvel game. I play like stuff that's more 28 millimeter. And he's like, well, it's 3D printed, so we could just scale it down and print a smaller version for you and ship it to you. And I was like, oh yeah, no, you could, couldn't you? And he's like, uh-huh. So that's what I did. I ordered a copy of that and something else. Oh, I also ordered a bunch of 6 millimeter scale, like BattleTech / whatever type terrain. And then, yeah, I had them ship that stuff to me, and that was great. But like I said, I did buy one piece of Shatterpoint terrain because it's good. It's not too Star Wars, obviously Star Warsy, but it'll work out pretty well. So. Oh, excuse me. I am finding that 2 hours of talking straight is maybe pushing my luck, but we'll see how it goes. Vespid are going to be a pickup for me, but not another edition. Sure. Let's see here. Would Veil your opinion on Game Envy, Lucent Art, and the Hobby Light if you have used it? I'm not sure. But I do get Game Envy, Lucent Art, and Hobby Light. The Lucent Light from Game Envy is amazing. I think $85 for, like, it attaches to the side of your table or whatever. It's got a bendy arm, not like a gooseneck, but you know what I mean. Yeah, the Lucent lamp is amazing for painting. It's super adjustable, both in how bright it is and the color temperature and all that kind of stuff. And then it's got like, it's just like, instead of just being like, here's the point of light coming down, like you have these arms and they're adjustable so that they can wrap around the model and you can see, you know, so you don't have these like harsh shadows and stuff like that. If you're interested in upping your light game for painting, go take a look at Game Envy, look at their Lucent light. Like I said, they're about $85. Redgrass made a light like that just a little bit before Lucent, you know, first started selling theirs. But I think the one from Redgrass is like $250 or something like that. So this is considerably less expensive, and it's, I think, a nicer light from what I've seen. I have not tried the Redgrass one, but just looking at it and comparing it, I would say that this seems to be more adjustable and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe there's some sort of weird change in the light or something like that, but I just don't know that that $200 or $250 or whatever for the Redgrass one makes as much sense as $85 for the Lucent one. That one is easily worth the money for sure. Just ask Emily and Noob. The solution to everything in Gaslands is smash. That's true. It is pretty much about smashing. Hi, Adam from Ottawa, Canada. What do you think about the quick start sets that OPR has put out for free, including rules, terrain, STLs for 2 armies? Very smart. Very smart. They are... they just kind of keep going from strength to strength, in my opinion, over there at OPR. So I'm very glad to see that, and it makes a lot of sense. It comes down to a situation where there's two, well, there's lots of different types of people, but there's one type of person who is like, I want to sit down, figure this out, tweak, adjust, come up with exactly the list I want, figure out how to like source models for it, whether I'm using 3D printed stuff from OPR, whether I'm using 3D printed stuff from somebody else, whether I'm making whatever you're going to do. Like, all of that stuff is something that one group of persons wants to do. And then the other group of persons is like, I would like to just know what I should do. You know what I mean? Like, I want, like, when you say, hey, we'll build a list, they're like, well, what list should I build? Well, just use this, set of rules to build a list. And they're like, that's really super cool. Yeah, no, I get that. But what list should I build? Give them a list. For people who don't want it, they'll just ignore it. But for people who are like, I don't know how to start, here's how you start. And that just makes a lot of sense. It's also, for them over at OPR, it is incredibly low-hanging fruit, because basically them just going in here, clumping some stuff together. Like, Steel Rift did the same thing to some degree. Like, when I first started getting into Steel Rift, I actually was talking to Austin or Justin or one of the guys, and I was like, it'd be really great if you guys just had like some sample lists so that a person could look at it and go, oh, okay, cool. And at least you could look at it and go, I now know what I'm doing, and so I can build my own, or I can start there and tweak it or whatever. And they were like, And then I was looking on the website just recently, and they have all kinds of like here's a bunch of starter lists, and here's this, and here's that. And it's just, it's smart to do for those types of things. It makes a lot of sense. Yesterday at the local gaming store, I watched some folks play Age of Sigmar Spearhead, and now I am putting together a Nighthaunt force. Nice. I can tell you how to paint them if you're interested. Use some ghost juice. If you video of mine probably 4 weeks ago, something like that. Yeah, talked about how to very, very quickly paint ghosts. Making a walking lair for Deth Wizards right now. So stoked on the game. Going to be likely going to have a crossover with Silver Bayonet. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's a neat concept. Symbols denoting distance was just GW trying to copyright a game rule that didn't need to be copyrighted. It caused confusion. Excuse me. I heard a rumor that when they were designing, the second layer, when they were designing the 2021 version of Kill Team, that they knew they wanted to do symbols for the ruler thing. They believed that board gamers were afraid of tape measures. This is what I'd heard, is that they were like, board gamers don't like tape measures. They want a bespoke ruler. And that may be the case. You know what board gamers are really afraid of, though? Building and painting models. So I don't know that them looking at this box of terrain and all this stuff, I don't know that the ruler was going to chase them away, but whatever. So that was what they were going to do. They decided to make this bespoke ruler, and they were going to put symbols on it. And the rumor that I heard was they were doing it like in Google Documents, or, I don't know, maybe Teams, or I don't know, some sort of like collaborative online texty type of, word processor. And they just sort of like plopped down symbols as like placeholders and then just never fixed it. So I don't think that they could copyright the symbols. You know what I mean? Because the symbols they used were like squares and hexagrams and junk like that. So for them to be able to be like, oh, well, yeah, you can't, nobody else can use this anymore. We copyrighted hexagrams. That's not going to be the case. But from what I understand, the idea is that they originally just were trying to make this thing so that it was less scary for people who were board gamers, I guess. Board gamers can do math. I've seen it. But, nonetheless, it's, it wasn't a great idea. It was not a good idea at all. I don't think that the guys that they talked to in that video yesterday, I think those guys are the designers on the new version, and they did not design the last edition. I'm 97% sure that the people who designed the last edition are not people who designed this edition. So we'll see how that works out too. I love the density of Necromunda, but it is absolutely not designed to have everything turned on at once. Yeah, no, I can understand that for sure. Necromunda really benefits from treating the books like role-playing supplements. Use the core book, and whatever book has your gang rules. Treat everything else as optional. Just use what sparks joy. It really is as simple as core rules in the book with your gang. I thought that there was an extra book you needed, though. I thought you needed some book with a marketplace. Did that change? Maybe they changed that. I'll be at Nova Open. I'll track you down for a photo. Cool. I just fallen in love with the single opposed die roll from Rangers of Shadowdeep and Frostgrave. It's so elegant and makes for more action, in my opinion. Yeah. Never liked the gang's themes for Necromunda. That's why I love the 40k faction version of Necromunda that briefly existed. Shadow War Armageddon. Shadow War Armageddon was cool. I liked it. I was also stunned by the fact that it came out and then was also immediately followed by Necromunda. Because when Shadow War Armageddon came out, I'm like, oh, cool, this is Necromunda. It's just 40k Necromunda instead of Necromunda. That's kind of neat. And then literally like half a year later, they're like, and here's Necromunda. And you're like, wait, what? How did you? That was very strange. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I like Necromunda models. I own tons of them because they're great for kit bashing, not because I use them for Necromunda, because I just. But Necromunda models, Necromunda terrain, like Necromunda stuff is awesome. I just have never quite gotten the hang of the game, and that's fine. That's fine. I can use those models for other things. Is Kill Team pre-assembled forces, or can I design my own? Well, so it's predominantly pre-assembled forces that you can tweak a little bit. But if you wanted to go Deth Company, you couldn't. No, I mean, they will have a compendium that will come out. Well, it won't be a compendium. It'll be free download. And Deth Company are part of Blood Angels. They will probably have... Well, they'll definitely have a list where you can run some intercessors. Like 6 of them, probably. And that'll be the entire list. That's the problem with Kill Team is you can't go, oh, cool, I want to do this. You can't. You can go, well, of the things that they've given me available, I want to do this box or that box or that box, and then you can tweak things within that, but that's about it. If you decided, I want to make a cool list with a couple of intercessors and some reavers and then some Space Marine scouts and something else, no, you can't. That they don't allow that. Will you be going to Dragonfall this year? Yes, that is the plan. They added Friday as a day, but it also seems like a lot less events. With Friday, they are making the 40K Championship a 3-day, 9-round tournament. Wow. I don't think I'll be there Friday. Well, maybe I'll be there Friday night. I guess maybe I'm there Friday night, I guess. That's probably the case. I think I'm there Friday night and then leaving on Sunday afternoon or whatever. So yeah, I'll be there. At least that's the plan. As someone new to tabletop minis games, what is a good game to get into? I've got videos about that on my channel. It depends on a lot of different things. It depends on what you want out of a game. Do you want to have fun with your friends? Do you want to play big giant army games or small skirmish games where you just have a small crew and your opponent has a small crew and you like fight against each other and stuff like that? Do you like fantasy or do you like sci-fi? There's all kinds of different things there. Like there's a lot to figure out as far as that's concerned if you're interested. You know, if you're like, I want to play 40K, okay, cool, then play 40K. In that situation, if you want to play 40K because it's like the most popular big thing out there, then I would tell you to look into something called Combat Patrol, which is part of Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer 40K. And basically you buy a single box and it'll say Combat Patrol on it, and they have combat patrols for all the different factions. You could buy a Space Marine Combat Patrol, you could buy an Imperial Guards Combat Patrol, you could buy a Necron Combat Patrol, whatever. And then when you go to the website, when you go to the website, go to downloads. This is the Warhammer community website. You go to downloads. Then what you are looking for is farther down here, Combat Patrol data sheets. So let's say you're like, oh boy, I sure would like to do some, I don't know, Tau. Oh yeah, why would you click on the symbol? God forbid. So you can download a PDF that shows you this is the stuff that you need for this is the new Combat Patrol. So it's got a Devilfish in it and a bunch of these dudes and that dude and a bunch of these dudes. And it explains what you need to do and what you need to build and then gives you all the stats. And all that stuff is for free and you can download it. And that's great. You know what I mean? But it will say Combat Patrol data sheet at the top of each one of these. Right there, right? So in the red area. And that's basically what you're doing. So what you're doing is you're building like a little tiny mini army to start, and they're not letting you tweak it any. And then that way you don't have to think about it. You don't have to have analysis paralysis, and then you can go that direction and be fine. Now, if you're interested in fantasy stuff and you're still interested in getting into Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, they also do this for Age of Sigmar as well, except they're not called Combat Patrols, they're called Spearheads. So you can do basically the same deal. You buy a Spearhead box and then go download the rules and all that kind of stuff. And that's how you can get into either of those two games if that's where you want to go into. But if you want to get into other stuff, if you're interested in more indie stuff, there's tons of different things out there that you can do. If you don't want to do this stuff at all, or if you want to use these types of models like from Games Workshop, but you want to play with easier and simpler and cheaper rules, then you might also take a look at One Page Rules. One Page Rules is from... that's just the name of the company. But they are inexpensive. Like most of those rules will cost or be $5. So there's something to think about there too. Anyway, got my finger glued together assembling battle droids for Star Wars Shatterpoint. Nice. Do you guys even remember 10th edition? No more codex, guys. Feel free rules. We were discussing Kill Team doing the right thing. Sure. I mean, technically, 10th edition does still have the core rules to download for free. 10th edition still does have all of the combat combat patrol rules for free. But yeah, I did not believe for a minute that they were going to get rid of codices. That's not a thing they're going to do ever. So yeah, 10th edition will never get rid of that. Age of Sigmar will never get rid of that. They're going to be like battle tomes and codices. That's how you play those games. You know? So but with Combat Patrol, at least you still can buy a box, download the core rules, download the Combat Patrol document, and download the Combat Patrol data sheets, and all that stuff's for free, and you can still get started and going that way. Which, again, they're trying to get people into the game via Combat Patrol, so it makes sense to make the barrier of entry as low as possible. Like, you know, the Combat Patrol boxes cost like $185, which is a bit of a barrier of entry for sure, but still, that's, you know... The lack of Warcry news and the elimination of Warcry units from Age of Sigmar, do you think they're killing Warcry? No, probably Warcry new edition will come out next year. I think. That sounds right. I think it's next year. You're the best uncle out there. Have a good one. Good night. Well, I agree. I appreciate that. I don't know if I agree, but that's very nice for you to say. Judge Dredd has happened multiple times and in multiple types of games, just always poorly and cheaply and for short periods of time. I'm so late. That's okay. What's the take on the new kill team? Yes, no, or ugh? We'll see, is basically the case. The bugs look awesome. The Scions with the weird jump packs, yeah, they look okay. Terrain looks great. If they can fix the cover rules, if they can make the game less of a game of hide and seek and more of an actual kill team as opposed to a hide and seek team, that'd be great. They're saying that you're not going to have to buy a compendium. It's going to be a free download. That would also be great. Especially since now at this point they have so many different bespoke lists over the last 3 years. They, you know, if you were like, well, how do I get, like, you know, if you've already bought those specific boxes, if then they made you also then have to buy another box or another book so that you could play with the boxes you already had, that would suck. But the fact that they're like, here you go, free download, knock yourself out, that's at least something good. We'll see how long it lasts, but it, yeah, definitely hope it should work out well. And then the fact that they're also making it, they're adding in solo and co-op is very interesting to me because, you know, Vince and I, we make a lot of solo and co-op games, and I'm just saying that, you know, they probably owe us some money. Probably not true. Let's see. There's no reason not to take the most powerful weapons, always in 40k, if every option is free, except when GW removes all the options. Why would you not take the most powerful weapons? That's what I've never understood. People are like, yeah, but then you'll just take the best stuff. I'm like, why wouldn't you take the best stuff? Like, why? I don't understand that. I don't know why people want to take worse stuff. That just never made sense to me. I mostly just want to be able to buy the models reliably. Yeah, well, that's for a Middle-earth strategy battle game, yeah. Rules changes they mentioned so far are some light streamlining and seem fine to me, but few details yet. Yeah, some details would be nice too, for sure. I can see the sense of releasing a new Middle-earth strategy battle box to tie in with the new Rohirrim movie. I don't think I even knew anything about the Rohirrim movie. That's kind of cool. Between Vinny, Ninjan, and you, who will have the nicest Skaven army? Vince. Let's see here. Are bugs part of Tau? Yes. So the Tau, they like to work with other people, well, people is maybe a strong word. They like to work with other species. So the Tau work with the Kroot, which are those sort of weird. They maybe are a little bird-like, but without wings. I don't know. They're just kind of odd. So there's the Tau, or sorry, there's the Kroot. But I say bird-like because they kind of have beaks and kind of feathers, but not quite. And then there's the Vespid, and both of those have been around for a long time within the Tau line. They just haven't made new Vespid models in like 20 some years. So the fact that they've done that now here with this is cool. I think it's neat. I'm glad to see it. And they're great looking models, I think. But yeah, some people say that, you know, well, maybe they're not really working with the Tau. Maybe they're working, the Tau are forcing them to work with them or something like that. It's a weird gray line as to what goes on. But yes, in theory, technically, the Tau like to have employees who do work for them. Is it just me, or did they lean more into the Vespid being mind-controlled aspect of the lore? One of the guys in the video mentioned that, because he's like, there's like the leader guy, he's got this weird helmet. And he's like, oh, well, that helmet, some people say that maybe he's being mind-controlled with that helmet. But other people are like, no, that's just for communication and stuff like that. I don't know. I try to ignore the lore as much as possible, if I can. Which means the Tyranids bugs are now confusing. The Tyranids are more like giant shrimp. Wait, well, I don't know if they can swim, though. That's a good question. Let's see here. In all honesty, I like the kill team cover obscuring rules now that I've learned them. However, that's the problem. They are not friendly for teaching and learning. You're not wrong. Which makes accessibility an issue, as is very true, yes. Check out Hobgoblin Wargame from the guy that did Gasland. Hobgoblin is very cool. I wish I was into rank and flank style games, because that's what the game is, which is, you know, it's just a style that I'm not super into. But if you're into rank and flank style games, kind of like the Old World or Conquest, Last Argument of Kings, or Mantic's Kings of War, that kind of stuff. You know, if you like that kind of like moving units and like rectangles and such, then yeah, I would definitely check out Hobgoblin. It's, first of all, the artwork is stupendous. It's done by Crom. Super agree on Lucent Lamp. Awesome purchase. So worth every penny. Works great, says Jim Crimmins. There you go. Bought one of those. I bought one of those fake grass for the balcony grass mats, sprayed some various colors on it after cutting it to a size that fits the cabin table, and used that as a battle mat. Oh, that's kind of cool. Would like to look at the Game NV Lite once they refresh their security certificate. Been on the fence about upgrading my light as well. Sure. What is OPR? One-page rules. If you go to onepagerules.com, you can find out more. One Page Rules is it is a war game that allows you to use whatever kind of models you want, but they do have specific lists that are pretty much match up quite well with, say, 40K stuff. They've got stuff that matches up with Star Wars stuff. They've got stuff that matches up with lots of different things. And then that way you could use your models for, let's say, 40K. If you're tired of the way that 10th edition and then 11th edition and then 12th edition and all that kind of stuff works, and you want to play something that's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit easier and less expensive, then you can take your models and you can, you know, use them in one-page rules games. Their version of 40K is called Grimdark Future, and their version of like Kill Team is called Grimdark Future Firefight, and that's the skirmish game as opposed to the bigger army game. Excuse me. OPR has some nice STLs. Yeah, I have some of their, they're called, what do they call them? Robot Overlords, but they're kind of Necron-ish. Yeah, a little bit. I have some of them printed and based down in the basement, and I'm going to prime them soon, and I want to paint them. My friend Dave printed them for me. I'm totally that kind of person. When I'm starting out and learning rules, list building is just an extra layer of complexity that turns me off. Yeah, there are some people who love that. There are people out there who are just, excuse me, very much into what they will very much into what they will refer to as list hammer, which is to say they just want to sit there and like just build lists, and like they very probably never even buy the models and play. Some people just love to sit there and just come up with lists and go, oh, well, is this list better than that list? Is this, I could fit more of this in there. And that's fine. Not for me. And I'm not against the concept. I like being able to tweak and change lists. But especially when I start, sometimes it is nice to have a jumping off point. You know what I mean? So. How hard are war dogs to build? Never built a 40k knight. Are those the armigers? Because I've built a couple of armigers. Well, or at least one. That wasn't too bad. Just checked out the OPR page. Link for the freebies right up front. Gotta say, I love the way that they do these things. We'll definitely give them a download. Sure, absolutely. Pre-generated lists are a good intro to a game. I agree. And then some folks just don't have fun list building when they know the game. Sure. I mean, like, I don't like, one of the reasons I really enjoyed for a while that card game Keyforge, because there was no deck building. Like, you bought a deck and the deck came pre-built and you couldn't change decks because the decks are like digitally pre-generated. They're printed on demand, basically, kind of, sort of. So when you buy a deck for Keyforge, at least the original version, I think they may have changed it a bit now, but the original version, when you bought a deck, the back of each card, you know how like in Magic, the back of each Magic card all looks the same and always has for the last 30 years, pretty much. Excuse me. I'm getting close. The back of the Keyforge cards, when you bought a deck, it had like the name of the commander or the name of the wizard that's doing the key forging or what. Anyway, and they were all programmatically generated, and the decks were programmatically generated, and it was kind of random, sort of. But then you couldn't take a card from this deck and put it in this deck because the backs wouldn't match, right? So one of the reasons that a lot of people didn't like that game is because there was no deck building in it. But the reasons that people like myself like that game is because there was no deck building in it. So I didn't have to mess around with all that kind of shenanigans. I just took this deck and played it. Wargaming seems to increasingly be leaning into low effort, I think. That's a shame, though. Well, there's still plenty of high effort stuff out there. They just understand that if the intro to getting into gaming is high effort, people will go, you know what's easier? Playing video games. You know what's easier? Watching TV. So you need the low effort stuff to be able to get people in the door. And some people will stay in low effort because that's what they prefer. They got families to raise and jobs to do and whatever, or they just don't care enough to like get super deep into the crunch. But there are people out there who do love to get super deep into the crunch, and they usually end up having to go with a different game or something like that. There are very few games out there that are both low effort and also super crunchy. I mean, but I suppose, like there are versions of like a beginner portion, like, like I guess to some degree, I was going to say that like Combat Patrol is kind of like that for 40K, except it's not. Like Combat Patrol is still kind of crunchy because it's attached to the normal core rules for 40K. You just don't have to worry about not deck building, list building when you first start off. So there's that too. I don't know. It's interesting. I like stuff being streamlined. I don't want to take 6 hours to play a game. I just don't. Workshop thinks that they can copyright anything. They were disavowed of the notion sometime back. Unfortunately, like a puppy, they forget easily. Sure. I can see them rushing it to print. Oh crap, we need to sell our own ruler. The two best starters I ever bought were 2nd edition 40K and the Battlefleet Gothic box. Nice. What's funny about those symbols is they didn't even use the obvious translations. Triangle, 3 sides. Yeah, no, I agree. That was the thing that was crazy too, is that like, yeah, it would have made sense to have at least made the box, like the little shapes match the Like, you know, a box would have been 4 inches, whereas a triangle would have been 3 inches, but they didn't even do that. Made any X for Steel Psalm? No, not yet. I literally just did my first, like, hobbying again after being sick. And I'm not there yet. But I did my first hobbying on probably Friday was the first time, really. Because I was streaming on Twitch, so there was that. But I also did some hobbying yesterday. I started working I textured bases on some models that I want to use for testing. I need to now prime those models white because I'm going to be I want to make my own. I've been talking about marine juice recently, sometimes on Twitch, which is go follow Sonic Sledgehammer on YouTube. He talks about marine juice. It is basically a unifying wash. It is a specific kind of color combination of a couple different washes and some medium, and then you put it on the model, you know, as you're getting near towards the end, and it just sort of ties everything together real nicely. It doesn't like tint everything real dark, but it just sort of ties things together. And I want to try doing the same type of thing, but with a slightly different. He's using mainly washes and then some medium. I want to use potentially washes, but then instead of using regular wash medium, I want to use instead like speed paint medium to get it to act differently. So I want to do some testing and everything like that, but I just need a bunch of models that are just primed white so I can test and look at it once it's dry and then go, did this do, you know, that kind of thing. So I did a little bit of that yesterday. I had some ghosts that were just laying around, because originally I was going to do a 1,000-point 1,000-point Night Haunt list years ago. Sam and I were going to go to some tournament, and it was like a team tournament. Each of us had to take 1,000 points. And I was going to take 1,000 points of Night Haunts, and he was going to take 1,000 points of Storm Bros. And that didn't happen. But I've still got a bunch of Night Haunts built, which I took a bunch of them and used them in my Deth Wizards army, for force, horde, technically is the proper terminology. But yeah, so I'm working on those, but that's literally the first hobby I've been able to do, because just like sitting up in some certain situations would make me cough. I mean, it's still doing it to me a little bit, but not as bad as it was. They changed the marketplace into the core rulebook last update. Oh, that's cool. Can you get the new core rulebook? I thought I'd heard something about it was hard to find. So I don't know. That's a good question. People that love a system will always say their system is easy to get into. Let's just say easy is subjective. Also true. Yep. Shadow War Armageddon was awesome. Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was basically 2nd edition Necromunda, from what I remember. Every time I get into Necromunda, I wish there was a Shadowrun skirmish game. I'm amazed that there's not. It is interesting. My experience, board gamers aren't afraid of tape measures, but they do want everything they need to come in the box. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Used to have more freedom in Kill Team 2018. I agree. When I play any game, I assume players can use any of the weapons on the datasheet. Don't want a player to have to use magnets and multiple models for different weapons. I mean, with 40K, that is now the case. Now, you can't take, like, not everybody gets a plasma gun. Like, they usually have a limit and say, well, you can have, like, in a unit of this many people, you can get one person who gets one of these or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it also used to be then, and then they cost this many extra points. So then you had to, like, do the math and go, oh, crap, well, this guy can't have this gun that I have glued to him because I don't have enough points for it. And then, so I'm glad they got rid of that. But, again, I don't know why you'd just take the things you want to take. Oh, gosh. I'm now firmly in the camp of not caring about arguments over game balance. Not where GW is concerned anyway. I can understand that. They don't seem to be able to make a good game around tournaments. No, I think that it's just very difficult to play a tournament with games like this. You know what I mean? Like a chess tournament makes total sense. I get it. But a game like this with so many variables that is so attached to making money by introducing new kits, new boxes, new rules constantly, and then also trying to make it something that's very fair and balanced, I just don't think that that's possible. Hello from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Hope you're doing great. I'm doing better. I'm getting over COVID, and I'm not testing positive anymore, so that's hooray for me. You can tell the cough is still there pretty bad, though, so. I basically plan to just play Kill Team and Boarding Patrol for the foreseeable future. See, that's the thing. Again, that's one of the things that's awesome about being in this hobby is that it's your rules now. You can do with them what you want. You can tweak things, you can change things, you can play old stuff. Just typed Spellcrow instead of Warcrow, learn something new. Oh yeah, no, Spellcrow is a cool company out of, I think, Poland or somewhere over there that makes all kinds of cool resin stuff. Let's see here. OPR has printed minis. Would these minis work well with the ones from GW? I'm intrigued. I mean, well, OPR has, unless we're talking about something else, OPR has, you know, the 3D printed minis you can do. And like I said, they make a lot of things that are, like, they haven't made anything that's Space Marine-y that I've seen, but they've definitely made stuff that's got a Necron vibe to it. They've got, I mean, if you just go to My Mini Factory and then type in one-page rules, you'll find all their stuff. Let's see here. See you at Nova. Absolutely, I'll be there. With the release of War Machine Mark IV and the sale to Steamforge, do you see the game making a comeback, or is it too little too late? That's a good question. I mean, Steamforge is very competent folks. They definitely can do that kind of stuff. I just don't know. I just don't know if people care anymore. That's a good question. Let's see here. Did you also catch COVID at Gen Con? Seems to be the case, yes. Thought Marine Juice was going to be something else. Nope. It's just a overall unifying wash that Sonic Sledgehammer says he learned it from some guys that used to work at Forge World. WizKids did an action figure Shadowrun skirmish game. Yeah, years and years ago, like posable, and they came on these weird bases and they had a little drawer in them. You could put their guns in there. Yeah, I remember that. But those guys were like, I don't know, 5 inches tall. Is the stupid idea that a tabletop wargame has to play like a computer game? The PC game can be updated within the blink of an eye without people having to invest extra money in it. Look at Dota. Oh, sure, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, it is very simple to be able to update that stuff. The downside, though, sorry, the downside is that you don't get a choice. You know, if you want to still play the old version of a video game, it is difficult to do sometimes because it auto updates, you know, or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, that becomes a problem. All right, folks, I'm going to go. Oh, no, the sun's coming out again. I'm going to go and drink some hot tea or something like that and everything, or maybe just taking out a lozenge. We'll see. But I want to thank everybody for coming by today and you know, apologize again for the coughing and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad to see people here. And I hope that this was useful. And I hope that you folks have a good rest of your day. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of you on Twitch on Monday night, back in my neck of the woods. And that's pretty much about it. So if you get the chance, do a little bit of hobbying if you can. And I'll see you folks again soon. I think the next time that this is planned, I will probably be, well, wait, no. What's today, the 18th? Yeah, the next time this happens, I'll be in 2 weeks from now, I'll be in DC. So it'll either be 3 weeks until the next one, or I'll just do this again next week, and then we'll get, I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out. See how I feel too. But yeah, unfortunately, because everything got weird, now the scheduling is weird for travel. The only other travel I got to do this year besides Nova is VinciCon and what else? Dragonfall, but that's by car, so it's a little bit easier. All right, well, folks, thanks again, like I said, and have yourselves a good rest of your day. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.